So, I recently had to deal with something no parent should ever have to say out loud. 3 HOA enforcers showed up on my doorstep to take my son away. And the reason? A violation of HOA custody compliance. Our neighbor was grinning like she'd just saved my boy's life. Funny thing is, the only thing that got taken away was them hauled off in an ambulance. Let me start from the beginning. If your HOA sends 3 guys in tactical gear to talk about paperwork, you're either living in the most aggressively managed neighborhood in America, or you're about to have a really bad morning. Guess which one I got? I hadn't even finished pouring my coffee when the knock came. 3 loud hits flat-palmed, too heavy to be neighborly. Not the kind of knock you answer barefoot. It was the kind that made me wish I still kept a shotgun by the door. I opened it slow. 3 men. Not mailmen, not meter readers, not delivery drivers with a box of regret. These guys wore matte black tactical vests, reinforced boots, and knockoff comms clipped to their shoulders like they wanted to look official without breaking the law. The only thing missing was a badge reading. Not cops, please believe us. The tall one stepped forward like I'd been expecting him. Buzzed hair, wraparound sunglasses, and the smug confidence of a man who practiced arrest poses in the mirror. "Mr. McAllister," he said, scanning a clipboard like it held nuclear launch codes. "We're here for a scheduled compliance review under HOA custody ordinance." I blinked. Didn't answer. Just looked him up and down like I was trying to decide whether this was a prank or some bizarre military podcast recording. The other 2 stood behind him. One was built like a fridge, arms crossed tight like a bouncer in a bad mood. The other was young, lanky, and clearly not built for tactical work, kept shifting like something uncomfortable was lodged in his conscience. They didn't look nervous. They looked prepared. Too prepared for a paperwork check. "We've received a behavioral concern about minor 714 under your care," Buzzcut said, still not looking at me, but past Mainto the house, toward Caleb's room. I stepped forward and closed the door behind me, keeping myself between them and the threshold. "You just said a lot of words," I told him. None of them made any legal sense. He flipped a page. Under Article 4.7c, the HOA retains the right to conduct minor safety compliance evaluations if a resident has been flagged as high risk. He looked up. "We're here to evaluate Caleb's living conditions." "Caleb's not a filing cabinet," I said, "and he sure as hell isn't subject to whatever spreadsheet fantasy you're working off." Stocky crossed his arms tighter. Clipboard guy didn't flinch. "Non-cooperation will be logged," he said, like he was issuing a parking ticket. Across the street, Meredith was standing near her flower bed, sipping something from a stainless steel tumbler, dressed like a tennis coach who'd given up. Her eyes locked on us. She didn't blink. She just smiled. Then she waved and mouthed, "It's for the best." I wanted to break something. The young enforcer cleared his throat. "We can escalate through proper channels, but our recommendation was to start with a non-invasive approach." "This is non-invasive?" I asked, stepping off the porch. 3 guys in tactical vests knocking on a veteran's door at sunrise? That's non-invasive to you. Buzzcut didn't move. "Are you refusing inspection?" "I'm refusing something," I said, still figuring out what word covered all this madness. He opened his mouth again, then stopped. That's when he noticed how my posture shifted, feet shoulder-width apart, hands loose at my sides, eyes watching the clipboard. He realized if he made the wrong move, I'd drop him faster than he could say compliance. Silence dragged out. Meredith kept filming. My coffee sat cold behind the door. Finally, Buzzcut said, "We'll report non-cooperation and initiate Phase 2. Thank you for your time." They walked off calm, unhurried, like they'd done this before. I watched them reach their car. Unmarked black SUV, tinted windows, no front license plate. The word Phase 2 stuck in my brain like a splinter. Behind me, the floor creaked. Caleb was barefoot, still in pajamas, halfway down the stairs. He didn't ask what happened. He just looked at me, eyes wide. "You okay?" I asked. He nodded. Didn't speak. I walked outside. My foot bumped something. A single folded piece of paper, left on purpose. Caleb's name, a date, and 2 words stamped in red, Phase 2 approved. They came with smiles and clipboards and gear they didn't know how to use. But now I knew they weren't bluffing. They were rehearsing. And next time, there wouldn't be a warning. The 4th citation came duct-taped to our front door. Not mailed. Not slipped under the mat. Duct-taped. Caleb found it first. Just stood there staring until I peeled it off. Violation. Visual disruption front yard neglect. The crime? Caleb's bike. Left on the lawn after school. $75 fine. Below that, in faint gray ink. Persistent visual disruption may trigger compliance monitoring per Article 4.7c. I read that line 3 times. I didn't tear the notice. Didn't curse. Just folded it, placed it on the counter, and made coffee like my fingers weren't shaking. At breakfast, Caleb picked at cereal like it had insulted his ancestors. Lena stared at the wall. Nobody spoke. Want me to take you in today? I asked. Caleb shrugged. I didn't do anything. Not it's fine. Not I've got it. Just I didn't do anything. That's when I realized wasn't scared of getting in trouble. He was scared they might be right. Then Leo walked in, holding 2 Red Bulls and a flash drive like he'd just hacked the Pentagon. Okay, I did something, he said. Technically legal. Morally gray. But necessary. He spun his laptop and opened a folder labeled Project Dove Ravenwood Estates. Inside, timestamps. Photos. Reports. 32 families. Everyone flagged. Each with a child, a citation, a single parent. A veteran. At the top of the list, me. Caleb's profile was tagged 714A. Stability monitoring required. Mine. Gavin McAllister volatility risk prior combat resistance to mediation surveillance authorized. The photos punched me in the gut. Caleb leaving school. Me pacing in the yard. A shot of Caleb in the backyard, outlined in red. Caleb's fingers curled around the table. Lena said nothing. Just leaned closer, jaw locked. Caleb pointed at the screen. They think I'm not safe here. I didn't answer. Then came the real hit. They think I'm not safe because of you. Lena's eyes flicked toward Mess Harp, concern not blaming, but searching. And I had no defense. Because this wasn't about what I'd done. It was about who I used to be. Leo cleared his throat. This isn't just a watch list, he said. It's pre-clearance. Prep files. They're building cases before removals. How long? Lena asked. Months, Leo said. Meredith didn't start this, but she's feeding it now. I stood. Don't, Lena said instantly. I'm not going over there angry. You are angry. And she's counting on me not to act. That ends today. Caleb spoke up. I want to go. No, I said. You stay. He didn't argue. But his shoulders dropped. Meredith was in her garden again pruning, smiling, headset in one ear, lemonade in hand like she was podcasting for psychopaths. When she saw me, she didn't flinch. Gavin, she said, did you see the latest newsletter? Pickleball's back. You're flagging my son and surveilling my house. I don't flag anyone. The system does. I just observe patterns. You submitted photos. I submitted evidence, she said, sweet as syrup. It's my duty to report when children may be in unsafe conditions. You mean kids with veteran parents? You'd be surprised how often that's the overlap. You think you're protecting the neighborhood, but all you're doing is abusing a system no one's watching. I am watching, she said. That was it. Not a slip. Not a mistake. Just a woman who thought oversight meant ownership. She reached into her apron. Almost forgot. She held out an envelope. No return address. Just a sticker. Safe Start Family Oversight Division. Came to my house by mistake, she said. Figured you'd want it. I didn't take it. Not right away. She leaned in slightly. Take a break, Gavin. You're spiraling. Caleb doesn't need chaos. She said it like she was offering a casserole. But it hit harder than any punch I'd taken overseas. Because now I knew. This wasn't just Meredith on a power trip. This was systemic. Intentional. Weaponized neighborliness. And I wasn't just going to fight her. I was going to dismantle the system that let her exist.